So we're going to be highlighting the last couple of features here in order to really get comfortable with digital asset management. And we're taking a look at a feature called workflow. What workflow basically is the steps that are needed to be taken in order for something to be completed or finished. Now, typically we're using workflow as a way for administrators or content reviewers to be able to do just that. Review content, ensure that the content is up to date, relevant, there's no typos, right? No sort of errors. So that way when content actually becomes published or made available, we know that's correct, or at least we hope so because we reviewed it. So workflow is that mechanism that helps us review things. Workflow can be applied not only to specific assets or content, but it can also be applied to a whole folder. The idea here is if we create something, a specific type of asset, it'll automatically be subjected or go through a workflow. And when you upload something into a folder or create something in a folder, it too can also go through a workflow. So create something individually, create or upload it in a folder. Both of those can trigger a workflow. So setting up a workflow is pretty easy, pretty straightforward. What we do is we head over to the control panel, followed by configuration, and then workflow. From there are a number of things you can do. You'll need to set up a workflow definition. What does the workflow look like? Right? Do you have to get it approved by one person or maybe many people? Who do we want to approve it? We can do that based on specific roles. From there, once somebody is reviewing something that's going through the workflow, they can do things, of course, like review the actual content. What's the text? What's the image? Things like that. You can also leave comments, right? A very easy way to provide feedback along the way. You can edit the content as well. Maybe it's something really simple, right? You forget the S, you forget the A or the N, whatever the case is. You can accept or reject the content. You can say, hey, this needs really big revisions, or this doesn't look good. Go ahead and make revisions based upon the comments I leave and then resubmit into the workflow. But if everything looks good, then yeah, we can just approve it and then it'll be on its way. Let's go ahead and recap here and do a little bit of reading within your student manual. And when you're ready, we'll come back over here and then discuss. Liferay workflows provide users tools to notify administrators when changes have been made to assets in Liferay. Right? We are able to configure that for any asset within Liferay. It can be placed within the workflow, and whenever something happens to it, like maybe we want to make an edit, maybe we create it, you can get some sort of notification saying, hey, so-and-so is doing whatever, review it. Workflows also give users the ability to create an approval process for all kinds of assets and resources in Liferay. Right? This is typically what we are using workflow for, some sort of approval or review process. Livingston Life will use the default single approver workflow definition to set up a workflow for new blog posts. Right? The single approver workflow is just as it sounds. We only need one person to approve the blog post in this situation before it's finished or complete. You can create other workflow definitions as well, depending on what your needs or use cases are. When a new post is added, the administrator will be notified and will be able to review, edit, and approve the post for publishing. By default, all of the workflows that we create, the administrator is always going to have the ability to say yes or say no, or to be able to approve things in the workflow. We can create these workflows in such a way where we can pick and choose which roles within Liferay are either able to approve or reject the workflow. And then finally, workflows can be applied to both the content itself and folders. So if I'm creating a specific type of asset, we can trigger a workflow. If something is added or created within a folder, we can trigger a workflow that way as well.